Welcome to this broadcast on the 2023 children's books from the Light on Light Press, One Brightness and Fogbusters. Our guests will be sharing their colorful covers and content with you in just a moment, and you'll see how really special, exciting, and inspiring these books are. So we'll tell you all about them, and we'll even have some fun with their extraordinary content and our special guests. I'm Dr. Kurt Johnson, the managing editor at Light on Light. One Brightness is authored and illustrated by Victoria Friedman with Ellen Mann and inspired by the work of renowned cosmologist Dr. Jude Currivan. And Fogbusters is authored and illustrated by Victoria Friedman, again with Ellen Mann, and in collaboration with famed author and social systems scientist Dr. Riane Eisler. So we're so pleased to have them to share this time with us. Victoria Friedman, Dr. Jude Currivan, and Dr. Riane Eisler. So over now to Victoria.
Greetings, everyone. You might know me as Victoria Friedman, but in the Middle Kingdom, I'm called Tori, and I'm the fairy queen. I don't think we can talk about that now. We have to wait for that for another time, because I'm here to tell you about King Kurt, king of all the wild things. And I want to tell you that I met King Kurt through the fairy godmother, Barbari Marks Hubbard. And she came to Spirit Club for Children, and she told me she was the fairy queen and that I had recognized her. Now, Kurt lives in the kingdom of Riverdale, a beautiful place with a big river and very near a big city, really magical city. And Kurt is the caretaker of sun circles. Now also, King Kurt has a very special power, very special. When he puts on his glasses, his light on light glasses, books start coming out. They just start coming out. All sorts of books, funny books and serious books and big books and tiny books. And some of them are little weird books. But when he looks through those glasses, his light on light glasses, books start appearing like crazy. And just like that, the children's books appeared. They appeared right out through Kurt, The Brightness, The Eyes of Love, and Fogbusters, The Eyes of Care. And it all started in the sun circles. Please tell us how that happened, King Kurt.
Okay, Tori, let's have some fun. So, I was in a sun circle, and a sun circle is a group of wise wizards, magicians, leaders, professors, celebrities, heroines, talented and famous people. And they were planning to tell all the people of the world that, yes, we can all be friends and we can live happily ever after. So I put on my magic glasses. And yeah, I know it makes me look like Santa Claus, but through my magic glasses, many, many, many books appeared, many books. But these books were long and complicated, and they weren't easy for children to read. So that's when we called in the Fairy Queen. So over now to Tori, the Fairy Queen.
Yes, that's how it happened. That's really how it happened. And then Jude Currivan, heard about this, and she asked me to help. She offered help. And, she's the voice of One Brightness. She knows how the earth happened. And that's amazing. She knows how the universe came together. She is really in touch there. And then King Kurt was speaking to Riane, the oracle. And she is an expert. She knows all the ways that how we can change bossiness to caring, how we can change bossiness to partnership, and behave nicely. And she will help us become caring. It's very important. And she's so smart. So together we spun the stories, and we got Nell, the starscape colorist, to add the color. And King Kurt saw the books with his light on light glasses. So like magic, they appeared. And we're going to show you the first one. It's One Brightness, the Eyes of Love. Let's invite in Jude Currivan. Welcome, Jude. Welcome to this wonderful occasion. And so wonderful, absolutely, to work with you on this story. I had an idea of the story, but then I started reading Gaia, and I felt like I was the brightness. The unfathomable information in there just takes us to wonder.
Thank you, Victoria. I mean, I know you're referring to my most recent book, which is The Story of Gaia. And when you read it and we spoke about it, it touched my heart so deeply, because it took you on a journey. I mean, it literally is the journey of our wonderful planetary home and our whole universe. And so when you realize all the evidence now that's showing us a very different story, a story of a wonderful living and evolving universe, which literally is one brightness in action, you got, I know, very inspired by that. And so it was wonderful when between us, our unitive narrative circle, which came about really from this new understanding of the nature of reality and the nature of our universe, when that came about a little while ago, we began to think we need to share this with everybody. And of course, the new story was primarily to begin with for adults, but it became so clear and so important that this is also a new story for young people and for children of all ages. So you are such an incredible storyteller. So when we got together, thanks to our dear friends in the Evolutionary Leaders and the Synergy Circles that we're part of, it was such a beautiful initiative to come forward with both One Brightness, which is the story of our universe, our planetary home and us, and also the story of the Fogbusters, how now we can wake up to remember we're inseparable and yet we're each unique. And that's such an important story, I think, for not just for children, but for literally, as I say, children of all ages, parents, teachers, everyone, because it's our story and it's our true story.
Exactly. And it is so important for children to have a story like this. I mean, just to even tell them about the wonder of the beginning of the universe. I don't know if they learned that early in school, but learning it like this with the pictures and with the background that you provided all of us here. And I know that very young children, very like 3-year-olds, they know their brightness. They haven't found out yet that they're a separate person who's going to have to act like every conditioned person. No, in fact, when I talked about oneness to children, they didn't know what I was talking about.
It's who they are. They know this.
Because I'm trying to say, let's discover it, and they're all looking at me like, okay.
What are you saying? Absolutely. But this isn't the story we've been taught at school. We've been taught a different story. We've been taught a story that our universe doesn't have any meaning really or purpose. It exists, it evolves, but it does so in a sort of accidental way. And it's a worldview, it's a universe that's full of separate things. And that isn't the reality, that isn't the truth. That we've been taught traditions, faith-based traditions, universal wisdom teachings, indigenous teachings have always said this is the reality of our world, that it exists meaningfully and it evolves purposefully, and it's essentially a living universe, not a dead universe. And we all therefore have meaning and purpose, and we are all sparklings of its one brightness. So for this new understanding, which is also ancient, but it's now based on scientific evidence, it's all coming together. And so it's able to both be articulated as a unitive narrative, and also we're able from that foundation to be able to tell new stories of unity in diversity. It's a whole new adventure. It seems to me that as a human family, we're being invited to step into.
Yes, so beautiful, so beautiful. One of the children who read the books, a boy, 10 years old, he said, it's so good to read a book that tells you something that you can do and why something happened. Just wanted to know what that was, like the fact that we bring up situations, and also that there is this solution of the brightness and what we are and what we, can be. So I think it's just so important what you said. It was so true about children really needing to hear these words, and also needing to hear the voice prints of spiritual leaders, people who live this, not just people who write a book about it. So I think we are ready to bring everyone into brightness, and we're going to walk you through page by page, not to the end, but very close. and so you can join this and be there and be the sparkling that you are. Welcome, Jude. Welcome here to One Brightness. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the story of One Brightness. But first, Jude, being the voice of One Brightness, can you tell us anything that's happening right now in the universe?
Oh, Victoria, first of all, it's wonderful to be here with you and everyone that's with us today. There's so much. The universe never stops. In every moment, it gets bigger, and time flows, and it breathes. Our universe breathes, and it breathes through us. So in every moment, there's so much happening with stars and planets and sparklings. And I know we'll go on to share what sparklings are and how they and us are all part of one brightness.
So let's start the story. So in the very beginning, before time and space, there was nothingness, no thingness. Have to say this is a great point to talk to your children, to talk to them about what that could mean to them, what it can mean to us, all of us. What does that mean? No one has the answer. Anyway, there was nothingness. And then suddenly, in this empty darkness, a beautiful sound began to fill the emptiness. And in just 3 minutes, now this I learned from Jude, the voice of One Brightness. In just 3 minutes, a gigantic light lit up our universe with one brightness. And, Jude told us that actually first came a breath, and then came a sound. It's like when we're born, we take a big breath, we cry, and then the light fills our eyes. Jude,
It's such a beautiful beginning. And it's a beginning that's continued all these many, many, many billions of years since. But our universe began as a baby, rather like a human baby. It began small, tiny, and yet everything within it possible for it to grow and thrive and learn about itself and learn about one brightness.
Thank you, Jude. All children in the world should be able to hear that. They should be able to hear that. Well, what happened was from this one brightness, sparklings came out. They beamed out sparklings, all from one brightness, all of one brightness. And they beamed out and they started to manifest, started to come out here as planets. They began to sing as twinkling stars and galaxies, and much later, as Jude explained to me, much later, sunny solar system and planets. And then for a long time, it was very hot, and then it began to cool. Tell us about that, voice of the one brightness.
Be delighted to, because yes, in its very, very early times, the universe was very hot, space was very hot. But as time went on and space expanded, and time flowed forward, it did begin to cool. And as it began to cool, that was when the first stars were able to form and the first galaxies, and onward until it became time for our sun and our solar system to come into being. And that then allowed us to evolve, because in the spaces between stars, you and I and no one could live unless we're in a spaceship. And yet our universe and one brightness was getting ready for planets to come into being, and so getting ready to go into another birth, this time of cells and animals and plants and eventually people.
And so on our little teeny tiny planet called Earth, sparklings came here too. Sparklings came and they became birds and dinosaurs and insects and water and fish. And guess what else? You and me. And the sparklings continued. They continued being creative, just like this one brightness, just so creative. And we sparklings, we created houses and skyscrapers and squishmallows. This is a squishmallow. It's a beautiful big animal that you can squish and hold on, and they come in all different colors, and Lego, and even ice cream cones and computers all came out. And then we got so excited about what we're creating that we started to take our eyes away from one brightness. And we got busier, and a very unusual fog came in. It wasn't the usual fog. You have to tell the children that because they would be scared of fogs. It was not that kind of a fog. You would know this kind of a fog. It makes everyone foggy. Jude, do you have any idea where this fog came from?
Oh my goodness. I think in a way it was part of our journey from the beginning to this point, because in a way, all of those wonderful things that we created, and I loved ice cream. I love ice cream. So I'm so happy we created ice cream. But yes, we got very busy and we forgot that we were all part of one brightness. We began to think we were separate. We got busier and busier, and we forgot that we're part of one brightness. We cannot be separate. We're each of us ourselves. You're Victoria, I'm Jude. Everybody is their own and unique person. Every leaf on every tree, every snowflake is unique. And yet all of us together are part of one brightness. But I think that is what the fog came. The fog meant that we forgot. we forgot that.
Yeah, everything turned gray and we didn't even see it. We just felt foggy. And then it got foggier and foggier. And we began to say, like Jude said, we began to feel separate, like we're a separate person away from one brightness and from each other. And guess what? Because the fog made us so tired, wanting more began. We want more and more toys, more attention, more pizza, definitely. And we all felt so alone and scared. There we are on this little planet, feel we're all alone, but we're not, because one brightness is what we are. And look what happened. It was really bad. Jude, just tell us about some of the things. As Jude said, we forgot our one brightness. And then we got so tired and so foggy that some people started doing hurtful things to each other and to the earth.
And we did that not because in many ways we meant to, we just didn't know better. Because when we feel separate, as you say, we feel alone and we're frightened. And so we do things, when we're hurt, we hurt others. And so that's how we've been for a little while. And yet, that is not who we really are. And although the fog has been around us and swirled around us in this way, it's now starting to change. It's now starting to be transformed. It's now starting to go away because we are beginning to remember that we are, all of us, part of one brightness. We were all sparklings and we all have a wonderful future together.
But Jude, the voice of the one brightness is saying, and we began to do these bad things, but we didn't really mean to, and we can't blame ourselves or the children. Some of us were very brave, and that's all of us here. That is all of us right here, right now. We decided to look into this mysterious fog. It was so frightening. It seemed like there were monsters there, dark sides, shadows. But no matter how dark and spooky it may appear, one brightness is always here. And we continue to do that. And I can't really tell you the end of the story because you'll have to get the book and find out the story. But I can tell you that they lived happily ever after. Jude.
Just to say, yes, we will. And we will because we are remembering that indeed one brightness is always here. We're remembering we're all sparklings. And we're remembering that love is at the very heart of what one brightness is. Love is what sparklings are. Sparklings and one brightness always see with the eyes of love.
The eyes of love. Thank you, Jude. Thank you so much. And we're going to go on now. We're going to tell you more about the fog with Fog Busters. Thanks, Riane. Thank you. Thank you for joining us and for bringing your very informed and dedicated message to children.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Victoria, and to be with all of you who are seeing this online.
Thank you, Riane. And let's tell the story as we see the pages of the book, Fog Busters, The Eyes of Care.
I have to say, I love this little book. And I know that both children and adults will love it too, because it's really about the vital importance of care.
So this is the cover of Fog Busters, and as we go down, we'll see the beginning of it, the very beginning of Fog Busters. And the beginning of Fog Busters is that out there in the universe there's a tiny planet called Earth. And on this planet lives a shining fairy, and she is Olivia, the caretaker of the planet. And Olivia, actually, when I first had, she came out in the book drawn, she looked very serious, very serious. And because we've kind of had input on a team input on this book, a lot of people felt she was a little scary. So then I had a talk with Olivia, and she told me that she can change on a dime. She can change her hair color all the time. She can change her skin color. She can make her skin yellow, purple, pink. She can change everything. She can change the height that she is, how she flies. She could change everything because she is just changing all the time. And that's fun for her. So she's all about care. And we have Riane Eisler here with us to tell us a little bit more about care.
Well, I think that one thing that is the central theme of this book is what children really know from their own experiences, but that we need to really emphasize, and that's care, the vital importance of care. And I love Olivia because she cares for our whole planet. I love the 4 children with the eyes of care that you'll meet in just a minute. They're wonderful, and so are all children, really.
Yes, and so long ago, a strange fog crept all over the earth, and it washed out all the colors and turned the earth gray, and bad things started to happen, really bad things. And I've learned so much from Riane. So the bad things started to happen all over. And one of the things that we don't even think about a lot is that mothers and teachers and caretakers were not really valued. You know how there's halls of fame for movie stars and for football players and for all sorts of people, even Nobel Prize winners. But there's nothing for the most caring person, the person who cares the most, and what mothers do. What about mothers, Riane?
Well, I think that this is one of the main messages from my work and really also from my life. And it is one of the main messages of this book. If we don't value the people, and yes, they're mostly women, but they're also very caring men. If we don't value them because they provide this essential caring connection, then we really have our values upside down. So this book really, as you will see, puts our values right side up.
Truly, that is really true. And over here, what happened was that Olivia was very concerned about the bad things that were happening on the planet. She was very concerned. And she went up to the universe. She made a prayer to the universe, and no prayer goes unanswered in the universe's heart of love. And the universe brought 4 children to Earth in 4 different corners of the Earth, all over the Earth. And see, that's one of the things too, that children need to have a focus. Children, we have to make sure children are taken care of. Riane has said so much about that. Riane?
This has been, as you noted, Victoria, one of the main areas of focus of my work. And if you notice, these 4 children, Callie and Auro and Rico and Emu, if you use the first letters of their names, guess what they spell? Care. And they, as you will see, are able to lift this fog, a fog that in terms of my conceptual framework really was caused by what I call, and what the research shows, is a domination system. And as we lift that fog, we can see the very importance, not only for us to survive, but to thrive, of care. So we need economic rewards, social rewards, personal rewards for all of this work of care.
Thank you so much, Riane. Thank you. So what happened was, when the children were all 7 years old, they all lived all over the earth. So Oro was from Iceland. See Oro right here? And Callie was from the city of Hills. It's kind of San Francisco with the trolley car and the bridge. And Rico lived in Carnival Land. He had a lot of fun. And Emu was from all the way here from the land of the tree temples, Thailand and Cambodia. And their parents, they didn't know each other, but they just decided to take a trip. They all decided to take their children to the land of temples because, you know, Olivia whispered into their ears. Olivia whispers into the ears of parents, saying, take them to the temple in the land of the tree temples. So they went there, and soon they were like on a tour bus, and here they are, like here. They were entering the temple. The kids all by themselves, they entered the temple. And so when they got in the temple, and this temple is a very famous temple in the world now, it's called Angkor Wat. And the temple is so old to see how the trees went through the ceiling and came down to the floor. Well, the children went in and they saw 4 cornerstones, 4 beautiful, beautiful, glowing, glittering colors, cornerstones. And the reason for that is because Riane's teaching, her messages, is about the 4 cornerstones. So Riane, I know it's a lot to say, but could you tell us very quickly about the 4 cornerstones?
Well, they're not quite what they are in the story, where the 4 cornerstones are symbolic. But what the research shows is that the long-term strategy that we need in order to shift to a more sustainable, more caring, more egalitarian, more just way of living and making a living are, first of all, to focus on childhood and family. Why? Because neuroscience shows that this is critical. The first few years of childhood are critical. So what is really critical is the quality of care and education children receive early on. And this book is part of that education. The second cornerstone is gender. And we've all been taught, if you notice, there are boys and girls and boys who have the eyes of care. And really what we have are these rigid gender stereotypes that we've inherited from more rigid times of domination. And what's the good news is, again, that many people and this book are dispelling those stereotypes. So both boys and girls can be caring. And then, of course, I've already mentioned economics. We need that cornerstone. We need to reward the work of care. And last but certainly not least, and this is again where this book comes in, story and language, because we live by stories.
So actually, these children didn't know it yet, but they were going to find out. In the tree, there is Olivia coming through the tree. Olivia is going to tell them their mission, and they are going to become the fog busters, and they will clear the fog. They don't know how, but they pick up the stones, and then the stones immediately become like care rings, little beautiful care rings that they can actually talk to on their fingers, and Olivia can talk to them. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun. So what happens then is they return home. They return home from with their fog rings, with their care rings. They return home, and when they get home at the airport, see, this is little airports. There's an airport, and there's another airport, and there's a third airport right here. So they all come home to their airports, And guess what? There are people all over the airports because they heard what the fog busters did. When they came out of the temple, they colored all of the land. And they came out and, well, there were people with picket signs saying, we like the fog, keep the fog. I don't want to change the fog. And then other people were very excited, like us. We're all excited, right? We're all excited. God, you're going to make the fog go away. Go make the fog go away. We're all excited, but not everybody. And some people thought, oh, will my cat be okay? Will it be too bright if the fog goes away? Will it be too bright? So, you know, the fog busters, they encountered a lot of people who, you know, had a lot of questions. So I just want to say, Kurt, do you want to say something about this? I think you know a little bit about this.
Well, I just had to bring myself back off of mute. But yes, this is why we did these books. And as I said up front in the broadcast, and as I say at the end of the broadcast, this is a message that's for all ages, and it's a message that needs to start at the youngest age. So that who we are with our natural caring instinct, our sense of wonder and awe, that those really can dominate our entire life and not have to be detoured by all the conditionings and all the hard knocks that we go through. So that's what these books are about, to really celebrate how children can have this straight round to the world of one brightness, which of course is where when the fog goes away, then it's the one brightness. So that's why we did these books.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you so much. King Kurt, everybody. King Kurt, king of all the wild things. We cannot tell you what happened after this. All I can say is that Olivia really guided the children, the fog busters. And the end of it all is they lived connectedly ever after. So now let's go back to King Kurt and see if he has a happy ending for us.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria Friedman, Dr. Jude Currivan, and Dr. Riane Eisler for sharing this venture into the 2023 children's books from Light on Light Press, One Brightness, and Fog Busters. They're both available now at all of your booksellers. And you'll see on the banners, which will follow just hereafter, where you can pause your video to note the links, how you can obtain both of the books, and also visit the websites where you can find out more about each of these colorful and inspiring books. So you're going to want to check out children's books at lightonlight.us. That's children's books at lightonlight.us. And brightness books at Vistar, V-I-S-T-A-R, view.org. That's brightness books at vistarview.org. It's really been fun being with you. Thanks for joining us. And join us in busting the fog so that we can all be together again in the world of one brightness.